Hello everybody, we're the Northshorist Real Estate Group and we bring you hyperlocal real estate, community, and lifestyle services.
So this morning we spent our time at the North Shore Association of Realtors membership meeting, and the topic was talking about helping buyers being prepared for the mortgage lending changes that are happening this year. So we're going to talk about four things today. We're going to talk about the importance of a pre-approval and pre-qualification, the difference between the two. We're going to talk about a quality residential mortgage. What does that mean? We're hearing a lot of hype about that in the news. The new type of loans that are becoming available, and just how important it is to be educated and understand this process if you're going to buy a house.
Exactly. So the first thing we want to talk about is the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification.
Correct.
Typically what you'll see, a pre-approval, they'll pull your credit, they'll pull your employment, and they'll verify your income. So they've gone through the steps to kind of get you into the process where they know you're a viable buyer. Right. Usually with a pre-qualification, they basically ask you what you think you can afford, and then they write up the numbers on that.
Right.
Now, that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes a pre-qualification can have all those things done. It can be just as good as a pre-approval, but it depends on the bank.
Right, that's what we learned this morning. Some banks aren't allowing them to say it's a pre-approval because the loan offer doesn't actually have the ability to say the loan is approved. But what's important is to make sure you're working with a lender who is thorough and is doing those things, so that when you put an offer in, you're really well qualified for the loan.
And the next thing was the QRM rules. So the QM rules, they went in January, and they kind of made a structure for how you have to process the loan. They had a couple guidelines you had to go through, and it had to be QM approved. Now, we in Massachusetts really haven't seen a change from this year where it's in place to last year where it wasn't. Your ability to get a loan is pretty much the same right now as it was a year ago.
Right. I think that's because Massachusetts was a little ahead of the curve in making sure that they had these mortgages approved. So just make sure that all your paperwork is done properly. You should be just fine.
Right.
So the other thing we learned about was there's a lot of people thinking that you only can get a loan if you have 10% down or 20% down.
Which is definitely not true.
Definitely not true. You can get a loan for 3% down. You can get a 0% loan if you're an FHA buyer. And what we saw today, because there were so many bankers, there are about 30 different banks and mortgage companies, a lot of them are doing a lot of creative type of loans. One bank was actually saying what they were going to do is totally pre-approve you before you even found a house.
Yeah.
They would run the credit, they would run everything, give you a total pre-approval. All it would be subject to is getting the house and then the house appraising for the value of it.
Exactly. So you were pretty much ready to go. They could close in about a week, a little over a week.
Right. And I think the reason for that is the market now is so crazy that if you see something that you want, it's well priced in a good neighborhood, you better be pre-approved, ready to go, because there's no time to call your lender, get all that paperwork to them because you saw something on Sunday that you want to put an offer in on Monday.
Right.
You want to make sure that you are prepared.
Preemptively getting all that information in and being ready, so when you make the offer, you're good to go. And if you have something that can close that quick, now you're competitive against cash offers if they need to move quickly.
There seems to be a lot of cash offers out there. It's kind of interesting.
There's certainly cash around. Different stuff that we already knew, like the 0%, the VA loans.
Correct.
If you're a veteran, it's such a great program to go through. You get a very competitive rate. Plus, you can put as little as nothing down.
Right. So I think what we came out today, just reminding ourselves, is it's really important that as buyers you're really well educated and that you're really well prepared. You understand what's going on and you're working with a lender who's going to be detailed oriented, because when that product goes to the underwriter, when that loan goes to the underwriter, they are spending a half a day going over every piece of paper. So you want to make sure that you've crossed all your T's, dotted all your I's, because they're going to be making a checklist.
Exactly, and that's something we do with our buyers presentations. You should know the process going forward, not just be surprised by every step down the road. Know what's coming ahead, be ready for it, so that you can move quickly and don't get passed by on anything.
Right, and I think the only other thing we wanted to make sure we reminded you of is that when you do get that approval, you want to make sure that you're looking at what it's subject to, because they might approve the loan, but it might have some conditions on it, and make sure all those conditions are things that you are able to take care of.
Right. So yeah, that's important. As you get close to your financing date, already have your home under improvement, they might give you a commitment letter. but that might have conditions.
Right.
And just because it says commitment on it doesn't mean it's an actual commitment to finalize the loan.
Yeah, so you need to read those conditions carefully or go over them with your real estate agent or your lender.
Exactly, and that's
Or
all part
attorney.
of it. Yeah,
Or attorney.
the attorney as well, and that's all part of being educated, knowing what's coming up, knowing how to look at it.
And the whole purpose of this is to make sure we protect your down payment.
Exactly.
And once you get this loan approved, you're ready to close.
All right, that's it for us this week. If you have any questions, you can always contact us. If you like our videos, as always, please subscribe. And remember, we're not just real estate agents. We're Northshorist, just like you.